All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the New York session. All right, let's start with the dollar index as usual. Okay, so um, as we anticipated, mm, they're going to run for these lows. I wanted maybe a small pullback first before they do it, but they've basically run it out. So that is done. That was a nice move back down, and this is basically the best market maker sell model I've seen in a while, where this is the original consolidation. This is an area of accumulation, and that is an area of accumulation. And all right, this is the last area of accumulation. So once we broke this down candle with a fair value gap with the continuous up candles, and we broke down, that was the reason why we targeted somewhere here. And then when we got there in March, based on the seasonalities, April was also going to drop, right? And then we looked for the continuation to the downside. So it's nice to see. Now let's go to the higher time frame, because we need to change our perspective and see what's going to happen now that they've gone below this low. So now that we are below this low, equal lows. Now, if you remember when this month ended, and we started that month, I said, this doesn't look like an auto block to me. This one does. And the logic behind that is this high. Okay, when we are above the high, an immediate up close candle is an auto block. This is not. So that is the range currently, this low to this high. So we are now expecting them to reach discount. That's the breaker, the last up candle prior to the move down. The closing price, let me zoom in. Okay, that's the closing price, and that's where price is reacting off from. So maybe we might get some sort of reaction, but it might not mean a lot, because I think they will come for this fair value gap. I think they're gonna come here. Now when we do, I'll be expecting price to come back up again. So in a way, um, dollar index is still bullish from the 3 month time frame perspective. Okay, we are still bullish. So this area, we're gonna be anticipating a continuation to the upside. It can move up from here, but I think that's not even a breaker. That's a mitigation block. So it might come to that fair value gap. Let me go to the yearly. I'm trying to see if I can identify a pattern that we can use. Okay, so there is a fair value gap here, and on the 3 months, that one. So yes, that's why they're going to trade to going forward. So we are going to expect a continuation to the downside to this area here, and the same pattern that we saw on the lower time frame that I just marked. Okay, the same pattern that you saw is the same thing on the monthly time frame. So we have this area as a consolidation. Okay, we have that area as a consolidation. Then we had our first area of accumulation in here. Then we had our second area of accumulation in there. So once we went below this low, so I'm going back to show you why I was seeing what I was seeing. Once we went below that here, this candle, the moment it closed below that, price was gonna come here. Okay, and this is on the monthly time frame. So 2023, 2024, all that price was doing was just a consolidation. And this is a normal price action that price usually do, or price does, when we break market structure. So you will sometimes find something like this, and then we come back up. Once we break the last area of accumulation, price will come back up into fair value gap and then continue going down to break the second area and then pull back and then go down to OTE, and then we go back up again. All right, so what happened here was I was always looking for lower prices on dollar index was the fact that we broke this down candle, and then this was all a pullback just to clear out these highs into this fair value gap, and then they move down. So we are looking for a continuation to here. Okay, so that comes in at 98.30. So 98.30, that is currently where I'm expecting them to go. Right, that's where I'm expecting them to go. So look for dollar index to continue going down. Weekly, you can see nicely. So that's the area of accumulation there. And if you look at the that area, the fair value gap on the monthly, there's literally nothing there. So I think dollar index might be in trouble because there's no gap apart from this one, here. Apart from that gap, there is no other gap until right here. There's a small little one. Okay, it's tiny, but it's there. Okay, you can see this to that. So if we break this one, I think we might be coming somewhere here, which will bring us to, let's see what level that is. 79 retracement level. Yeah. So if we break that gap on the weekly, that one there, then we'll be coming further down, because I don't think the monthly gap, there's nothing really there. When you refine it, there's nothing there. So we might continue going much lower. Also, looking at how aggressive the drop has been, creating volume imbalances, this is a sign of weakness. So if I extend that, a large volume imbalance also over here, and then it came down. So this week, that's where price struggled to move, and we dropped. They've created another one here. Okay, so that's also something that we will focus on going into next week. If we start next week and you see price coming up, watch this area. All right, let's move on to euro. So euro, we eventually went for that equal high as we wanted that to do. Okay, I did not look I did not look beyond that equal high. So now let's have a look. Okay, so I think we're gonna trade up into this level 1.14980. That's the next drawn liquidity. Okay, this fair value gap, that's the next drawn liquidity. And once we get there, that's when maybe something will happen. And also lines up with the 70.5 level. So look for continuation to the down to the upside on euro. Okay, you're gonna go for that. And again, you can see the market maker on this time frame. It's looking nice on that. This is the consolidation, then we broke, and then they distributed here, broke down, distribution, broke down, distribution, down, and then we reversed. So that's your first area of accumulation distribution. So price would want to take out the high. Initially it was the low, so that's why we had a reaction off from here. That's the first area of distribution. So most of the time the first area of distribution acts as the OTE level. So it's either the low or the high of it. So the low of it reacted here twice, and then now they're going for the high of it, which is up here. and that's where most of the time price usually reverses. And from what I'm seeing, um, there could be a probability of um, a seasonal move for May. Okay, there could be a probability for a seasonal move for May, which to me that's fantastic, because let me bring out that seasonal move on May. So right now I think April seasonal is done. Maybe for the rest of the month we might not move much. We'll just keep tracking it on the daily. Okay, so let me take a screenshot. All right, so here is the dollar index, and this is May. Okay, so that's 4th of May, and then we see a big rally. Okay, so what I'm what I'm anticipating now is that they might trade into discount. The dollar index might trade into discount. We are already in discount, but like I said, it will go further down. So it might trade into the fair value gap that I highlighted, because we still have the April, because today is 11th. We still have about 20 or 15 trading days to go, right? And the dollar index is still bearish. April is also a bearish seasonal move, so we might continue going down. We will use that volume imbalance on the daily as our resistance level, and then continue expecting lower prices. Then once we get towards the end of the month, wherever the dollar index will be, that's when we can start anticipating this seasonal move. Or maybe it might move into a consolidation first, and then it will start shooting up again. And then when that happens, the reverse will happen on the euro. So euro, we will be looking for either a consolidation to start up here, or we will just go up and then start coming back down. Preferably, I would like to see like a swing low form and then a move up. So this, all of that, beginning of the year was a consolidation, and then this is accumulation. So we might form one more here, then we break for May, and then we come back and attack this low. Okay, so that's roughly the narrative that I'm kind of playing in my head ahead in time for the seasonal in May. Okay, so that is that. British pound, this, I don't think we should be going any higher, because from the 3 months perspective, this traded to the premium level. Now it's different from euro, because euro did not reach this level. Watch where this range, actually let me show it to you here. Okay, so watch. Okay, watch this candle. Notice where it is on euro. So this high is the same as that high. The high is the same as that. This low is the same as that, right? But when it started pulling back, euro did not go into premium. It stayed here, and then they took pound rather into premium. So pound does not need to go any higher, but euro does need to get higher. So in this up candle, this one is here. Now we've got there. British pound traded to this candle, which is a proportion candle. We don't have any proportion candle, but what we do have in that same area is that fair value gap. So that is where euro needed to trade to. But this one has already done it and given a confirmation. That's why on the daily, this was all price needed to come to. That's all price needed to come to. And then we had this break. So what I'm seeing now is either they will just go up one more time, run it, and then reject, or it will stay like that. Okay, so it can go up one more time, run it, because the gap is still there, and then we come down, or it will stay here and then come down. So let's see what it's going to do. Okay, but if you are trading British pound, I don't recommend longs right now. I don't recommend. If you're gonna go long, choose the euro, choose the Australian dollar or the New Zealand dollar. Don't choose longs on the British pound. I think this week the longs that was available is done. Okay, the longs that were available, I think once we confirmed this, I said we were going to trade here and then here, and they've done it. So now it's done. Don't look for any more longs. Just stay put for now. If anything, longs on the Australian dollar, because I think this equal high is going to be taken, and maybe next week. Let me double check the economic calendar for Australian dollar for next week, because I'm expecting some crazy moves to come in next week. I think we do have some news in the next 4 minutes. It's CPI, so we'll probably pause and then observe it. But let me check next week. Okay, so next week Thursday, that's when we have some news on the Australian dollar, and then on Wednesday night 11:45 you have some CPI news on on New Zealand. So those are news events that can push the Australian and the New Zealand dollar to catch up with what the euro and the pound has done. So next week I'll be looking for longs on these pairs. Okay, and then I'll be looking for potential shorts on the euro Aussie, pound Aussie, euro New Zealand, pound New Zealand. So yeah. Aussie CAD is also not bad. They've traded below previous day's low and is currently rejecting. I would like to see this gap stay open. Okay, I would like to see that stay open, and then we go up. Either we go up today or Monday we probably might gap up. I'm expecting that type of candle. I would have preferred not for them to come back down here, but you know they have, which is fine. but I'm expecting them to go up. Now you can use, maybe not today, but next week, previous day's low rate, they'll go for a previous day's high. We just need at least the 1 hour candle, sorry, the 1 hour time frame to break structure. So this up candle, not quite broken yet, but I like this one. Once we go above that, any fair value gap that is left on the downside, look for a pullback to it, and then you can buy. So if we break any fair value gap, then you buy to go up. Okay, now for now it can trade up into it can trade up into 50% here, and then this candle's low for now. Okay, so that will be the potential drawn liquidity. So next week you'll be aiming for 87860 and then 88510. Right, yeah. So that is that for the Aussie CAD. New Zealand CAD is doing well so far because of the Aussie New Zealand. So that can also trade. They've already traded to the 50%. So the next level will be somewhere up here. Okay. Because it needs to, I'm thinking this is a buy. This whole move down is a buy. So we will see next week, but I will want to see big candle up like this and then up like that to break it. Right, so let's see how next week is gonna trade, but just look at it from a daily perspective, and we want every single day to close above previous day's high. Currently, yesterday did close above previous day's high, so we do have a potential fair value gap over here. Okay, so we do have a potential fair value gap over here. Okay, we just need, okay, I think the news came out. I forgot. It's gone past 1 minute after the news. It's okay. We need today to close above this high. Okay, we need the day to close above that high, and that will give us a lot of confidence for the continuation to the upside going into next week. Okay, so let's see. Euro Aussie, all of that I'm thinking is a pullback. It's similar to the dollar index on a 3-month chart. Let me remove all this. So on the daily, you might see it like this, right? So this low to this high. Okay, now this is where I talk a lot about understanding fractals. Notice how this low to this high gives you a range, and then we had this candle breaking down to give you a confirmation we are going lower. With that candle, when you drop down to the lower time frame, then you can see what price is actually trying to do. So this is the break of structure. That's the last area of accumulation. So let me bring it into perspective with what the dollar index was doing on the 3 months. Okay, so same thing here, right? Let's go to the daily, right here, right? Same thing. So we had a close, we had a close. We're trading above a high, trading above a high. So that gives, after this close here, this high to this low, that becomes a range. Okay, that becomes a range. And within this move up, you drop down time frame, and you're gonna get something like this. You're gonna get something like this. Okay, so this will be an area of accumulation, the down candle. When that down candle is broken, that is a sign we are going lower to 50%, 50%, which is here, and then OTE, which usually will come at between 618 to 79 retracement level. So right now, once this candle close on the 3 months, that's where your eye goes. The same thing applies to Aussie here. Once this candle close, my eye comes right here. Regardless of whatever is happening, that's where my eye comes. So going forward, if anything goes up, it's all going to be a pullback. So what will happen sometimes, not all the time, they will pull back from this high. Oops. They will pull back from this high to wherever low after they break. Once they break the first area of accumulation, usually you'll see a pullback. That pullback will come back into premium in the form of a like an aggressive run just to scare people, and then it will move back down. So here the same thing, you have this low to the side. Once you break, I drop down to the H4, and then I see the market maker, where this is our last area of accumulation. Once broken, if we form a low, that low to the high, that gives you the same range as in the dollar index. And what price will do is it's just pulling back to come down to OTE. So Australian dollar is Euro Aussie is gonna come back down to somewhere here. Okay, same thing. So this is what I talk a lot about when I say price is fractal. Okay, when you hear me saying price is fractal, this is on the 3 months chart. This is on the daily, but it's doing the same thing. Okay, you had lots of candles. These are 3 months candles, so that's roughly 2 years of price action before coming down. This is daily, so you have 1 day, 2 days. It might take 3-4 days before price comes down here, but it will. Okay, so expect Euro Aussie to move somewhere down here and then somewhere here. And then we will see what it's going to do next. All right. Okay, so hopefully you got something out of it. So that's what I'm expecting. So now if we get this 21 minutes time to close below this candle's low, it will have a fair value gap somewhere inside this candle, which is somewhere right there. That'll be your entry. And then you aim for this low, and then you leave something on for somewhere here, or the OTE level, the 618, this one, and then you're done. Okay, just that's all you're looking for. Don't look for anything beyond that. But we need that H4 to close, so we need this candle to close below this candle's low. We need that. Once we get that, then you can look for a continuation to the downside. Okay. Pound Aussie has it's more weaker than that, so I think it's gonna go down here. I did the same thing, something similar. We got the close, this low to the side, we only trade it down straight away. But I think it's happening on a bigger time frame, which is this one. Okay, so next week they will attack this week's low and dip into this gap. Then we will see what it's going to do next. Yeah, so that is that. Let's go to gold. So gold, as I mentioned at the beginning of the week, this is a reaccumulation. Now you can see how reaccumulation looks like. And this is the point in time that if you are a smart student, you go and then you study this candle. Because again, that is how I, came. This is how I came to the realization of some of the things that I know. Okay, I backtested or reverse engineered, because once this is done, I need to go back and check how that candle was created. What are the signs, or what are the signatures that I can see, so that in future when I see such down candle forming, I'll know it's a reaccumulation. Okay, so these are beautiful instances where you can go and study it, because once you study it and you see how it printed, for example, the simplest one is this down candle has no fair value gap. As you can see, there's no gap here, there's no gap here, there's no gap here. That is one of the signatures of a reaccumulation, because if it does have a gap, then it can cause price to pull back and go down again, but it doesn't have one. Okay, so that's one instances or one signatures of reaccumulation. Okay, the movement down prior to the move up, it doesn't have that. Okay, and then on the lower time frame, so if you were here on Wednesday buying this down candle, leaving your stop loss here and then aiming for that high, you're in the money. And then I think yesterday I was anticipating for them to come and attack this low before going up, and they couldn't do it. I thought this candle, after this candle rejected, they would have run down quickly to take it out and then go up for that. They didn't do it, which is fine, but we've got our target. Now, what is going to happen going forward? On the weekly time frame, we can project this down candle and then see the extensions. So right now it's at the 168. So next week we might trade up to 3,305 and 3,370. That might be upside objectives for next week, especially the first one, 3,305. That is going to be your target. Now, with this, you need to be extremely careful because it's all-time highs. We are having just up candles coming up. Sometimes it can be a sell, but this time not really because of the volume imbalances that is creating. It's in a hurry to go up. Okay, so its momentum is really to the upside. So 3,305 will be your next upside objective. I think where we are now will not even be a bad idea to get in, because we have a down candle. Actually, for a Friday, just put your stop loss below that and then just look for continuation. Do you have a market maker in here? So that's the consolidation, that's the accumulation, that's the accumulation, that's one more accumulation. So I think maybe the 618 will be the best target. Something like that. Okay. So just be mindful buying, because if you're not in already, this one will be a risky one, but it can play out. Okay. So that is that. Crude oil, I'm expecting a move back down. This week has been nothing. If we go up next week, I'll expect them to reverse above this week's high, but I don't think it will because of this volume imbalance. I think they will just drop. It will just drop. So I'll expect them to move down again. If we come back up, it would just be a run on stop and then it'll move back down again. Okay, so next week I will be looking for continuation to the downside on crude oil. ES. So ES, I think the same idea. I'm expecting them to trade a little bit higher and then we look for continuation to the downside. A lot of manipulation going on, but look up here for continuation to the downside. Next week we'll look at it. This week is done, so leave ES alone. I did not touch it yesterday, and I'm not touching it today. Now let's go over to cryptos quickly. So with cryptos, let's start with straight away hype. So hype, I think it's either we're gonna come all the way back down here or we break this high. It's one or the other, but I prefer the downside because this is a pullback into the range. I prefer here, so we might start rejecting. I think you already seen signs of it. We might start rejecting and then coming back down here. Let's go to BTC because BTC is now giving a consolidation vibe instead of the aggressive move down. Yesterday I was expecting the aggressiveness to continue, to come and wipe all of that before rejecting, but so now it kind of moved into a consolidation type, which I don't like it, but I'm still looking for lower prices. Okay, I've not changed my bias. We're still looking for lower prices, so maybe over the course of the weekend, that's when it might happen. Lower prices. Okay, I'm not bullish. If anything, it might come just above this candle's high and then drop down again. All right, so don't get it twisted. Like I said, they will print an up candle to get people to buy it, and then they will go against them. So if you're seeing up candles now, don't be surprised, because when it's coming down, they need that to throw a lot of people off before going down. So it's similar to what I was showing you over here. Okay. So just um, what's the word? Invert your brain, right? Think that price is going down. I know it's going up. And do it the opposite so you just see it. Some people cannot think like that. Okay, so price is going down. It needs to reverse. This move up, okay, it brings buyers in the market. When that happens, then they go against them, then it breaks. But it's going to happen at the logical level. Okay, at the logical level. So if you're familiar a little bit with Wyckoff, you might use that as the I don't know, I don't remember the terminologies, but the simple is 3 Indian drives, right? Or I'll find the terminologies. I don't remember. They have a name for this, they have a name for that. Okay, so if you think when it's coming to the area where you're expecting price to reverse, when it's getting there, then the quick move to the upside will happen for people to jump into that, and then they will come back down now to that area, then reverse and go up. All right, so this move is what I'm talking about. It will always happen most of the time before the manipulation, then they go up. Okay, so if you go back, now where are we expecting price to reverse from? Somewhere here. Yeah. Okay, now have they gone in there? Not really. So you might say this would be the first. We have one low here. This will be the second one. Then the third one, that would be the aggressive one. Then they break. Then we go up. Then you have your 3 Indian drive, or I forgot the terminology for it when it comes to Wyckoff. And then we go up. So that's why I'm not bullish yet. Okay. So the same thing applies to all the other pairs. This is not it. We need one more run. Then we go up. Ethereum, same thing. It needs to touch this. Even with Ethereum, there's more room to the downside. So I'm not convinced yet. We will still be expecting lower prices. XRP, the same thing, lower prices. But with XRP, again, let's go back to the weekly. We just need the weekly to stay above this. So this is already looking good. I like it. We have this wick and that wick, making it this one high resistance. So if we come back here again, we'll be expecting a quick rejection and then start going up. Same thing applies to let me see this one. Yeah, maybe one more run into 0.0808, and then a quick rejection. Okay, Tatsua, nothing has really changed for me on Tatsuo. We will still come back down again. So everything, like I said, is hinging on the Bitcoin, right? What it does. That's what will give us a clue whether we are about to go up or not. Touch key, the same thing. That is the draw liquidity. For today, I think hype is looking hot for a movement down. So I'll bet on hype. Not even just today, but probably for the rest of the week. My stop goes there, and I'll be targeting somewhere down here with a partial profit somewhere here. Oops. With a partial profit somewhere here. Okay. I'll probably share this in the, not probably, I will share it in the community and then see. Okay. So that's pretty much all. Not a lot on the crypto market. Maybe going into next week, I'll find other good price action crypto market pairs and then add it to it. Or if there are recommendations from if there are recommendations from our viewers, then by all means drop it in the X comment section. So if you are watching from X, drop your recommendation on the comment section. If you are watching from the YouTube, drop your recommendation in the chat box, and then I'll add it to the watch list so we can look at them every time we meet. All right, so enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take absolutely good care of yourself. Don't do too much. Have some time to rest your brain and your mind. Meditate, sleep well, eat well, drink a lot of water, and most importantly, love yourself, and everything will be good. Okay, so have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday. Peace.